Welcome to Bird's Eye View. I'm Sam Nunes. So in fall, it's a great time to get outside and enjoy the weather, the cooler temperatures, the beautiful colors in the leaves. And a lot of people spend time going for hikes or going for walks in the woods or in nature, in parks. And some people like to use maps or compasses for navigation. But I thought that I would share with you guys a couple of cool ways that you can use nature to orient yourselves. So without further ado, natural guides. Navigation has been part of human nature since the dawn of exploration, and compasses and maps have played a big role in that. But for many years and for many cultures, these tools were not needed. Nature is full of guides that can help orient ourselves and lead us along our hikes and our walks. So what are these guides, and how can we find them? Let's get into it. The biggest guide in nature that we will notice is the sun. The sun is the most reliable natural way to orient ourselves. Now, it's common knowledge that the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west, which is true, but it's really only true in the fall and spring around the equinoxes. This does change throughout the year. In the summer, the sun rises in the northeast and it sets in the northwest. And in the winter, the sun rises in the southeast and it sets in the southwest. This is why the days are longer in the summer than in the winter, because the sun is traveling over a longer distance. But no matter the time of year, the sun is always in the same part of the sky around noon, which is south. So as long as we know the time, we can figure out where south is, or west, or east. And you don't even need to use your eyes for this. When you're outside, close your eyes and feel on your body which side is warmer. And if it's around the middle of the day, the warm side of your body is facing south. If it's in the morning around sunrise, the warm side of your body is east. And if it's towards the end of the day when the sun is setting, the warm side of your body is west. The trees can also guide us along our way in their own unique way. Trees love the sun because it's how they make their food. So it makes sense that they would want to grow towards the light. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the sun is in the southern part of the sky at noon, and this is when it's shining the brightest. This means that as long as the light is not blocked, the trees will adjust their branches to grow towards the southern light. Now, this translates to more horizontal branches on the southern side of the tree, and more diagonal and vertical branches on the northern side of the tree. Now, this isn't always dependable. It's not as dependable as the sun, because if the southern side of a tree is shaded by a larger tree, which happens a lot in the forest, then the smaller tree is going to angle its branches to wherever there is the most light. Now, this phenomenon only really occurs in deciduous trees like your maples, your oaks, your beeches, birches, those species. For evergreen trees like your hemlocks or your pines, spruce, they grow their branches horizontally and angled down on all sides, but they grow more branches on the southern side of the tree. This is why for those of us who get Christmas trees, there's always one side that you want to put in the back that's not seen as well. It's probably the side that was facing north because they didn't grow as many branches there. Fun fact. So you can use your tree to navigate as well. Your trees when you're going around the tree farm. Moving on, a puddle is a simple and unexpected guide. If you're walking along a trail that has tire tracks or even footprints in the mud that have filled with water, you can find a pattern to orient yourself in this environment as well. In a small puddle like that formed from a footprint in mud, the sun can reach the northern side of the puddle more easily, which leads to more evaporation on this side. This means that you're more likely to find water on the southern side of the puddle. Now, once you find south, then you can find north and east and west as well. Now, keep in mind that this is just a pattern for within the puddle itself. Puddles are commonly found on the northern side of larger obstacles like trees or fences. I would also like to add that if you had trouble visualizing these, you can feel free to send me a message. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/birds, the letter I, view blog. And I'm on Instagram at birdseyeView.blog. I'll also have visuals on those platforms to help explain these points a little bit more clearly. Nature has many guides. The sun is the easiest and the most reliable, but it's not always visible. Trees can be reliable too, but if the light on the southern side of the tree is blocked, then the tree will angle its branches towards wherever the most light is. This makes it a little less reliable than the sun. This is why trees alone in fields are actually more reliable than forest trees, because there's nothing blocking the light, so they're just going to grow towards the south. You also can find that in meadows that are surrounded by forest, the northern side of the meadow, the trees are going to reach out further over the meadow than on the southern side, because those trees are reaching south, and the southern side of the trees are angled away from the meadow. And puddles are the most subtle and complex guide of the three that I mentioned today, but they can be a fun additional skill to have for orientation. Now, these are just three of plenty of different natural guides. And the best practice when using nature guides to orient yourself is to use multiple guides to confirm which way you're looking. Thank you for listening. For more interesting content on all things nature, follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram at birdseyeView.blog and facebook.com/birdseyeviewblog. The letter I, not the word I.